we're now joined by Dr. Paul von Hippel. Dr. von Hippel is going to talk to us about learning loss today. Dr. von Hippel, I'm Connor. It's wonderful to have you here. We really appreciate the time and hope you're having a good Tuesday.
It's great to meet you, Connor. I hope you're having a good Tuesday as well.
It's been all right. We've had some technical difficulties, but we've had some really, really important stories to cover as well. So it's been good. And it's even better now that we have you here. And I want to start here, which is, for me, the term learning loss really came into my purview during COVID. That is when that became common vernacular, something I heard often, something I came to understand. I'm also someone who, growing up here, I had summer vacations every single year throughout, all the way up through graduation from college. And so I'm surprised to hear that learning loss is a concern during those summer staples that were just a natural part of my own yearly calendar. How long has this been a concern, and how grave of a concern is it? Learning loss for students during summer break.
Well, there's 100 years of research on summer learning, and not all of it shows a learning loss. Some studies show kids losing knowledge over the summer. Some studies show children going sideways. Almost no studies show children making gains over the summer. So it's really more of a summer learning stagnation than a summer learning loss. And I think we should start thinking of it as a summer learning opportunity.
Okay, well, a summer learning opportunity sounds good to me. Now, what is that opportunity? How would you capitalize on said opportunity?
Because most children go sideways during the summer vacation is a great opportunity for kids who are behind to catch up, and it's a great opportunity for kids who are on track or ahead to engage in enrichment activities and learn things that they've always wanted to learn and maybe don't have time to develop during the school year. So I think it's important for parents to sit down with their children and discuss what the child's goal is for the summer. A lot of what we see during the summer, whether it's stagnation or loss, is a consequence of not having clear goals and taking clear steps to get there. And just defining for your child or with your child what their goals are for the summer and how they're going to get there. And then checking in every week or so to see if they're making progress can be a great way to make the most of the summer learning opportunity.
And in your, sort of your ideal of this opportunity, what would those goals look like? I'm assuming they're not necessarily as strictly academically inclined as maybe during the school year. What type of goals, and maybe how broad of a spectrum of goals are there to remain productive and to continue with that upward trajectory for students during the summer?
Yeah, one of the wonderful things about the summer learning opportunity is it's tremendously varied and can be really tailored to each child's needs and interests. So, if your child really is in danger of repeating a grade or something like that, if they don't catch up in math or whatever it is, then defining specific math goals over the summer in order to get them on track would make a lot of sense. If your child's not in danger of repeating a grade, maybe in the upper half of their class, then talking about what other interests they want to develop, whether that's learning to strum 10 chords on the guitar or participate in summer theater. Those things can be really important. Some children, their times tables just aren't solid, even going into middle school or even high school, and saying, I want to set aside a little time this summer. There are many online apps that I can use, and I want to get to where my times tables are automatic. These can all be good steps to take. Wanting to read a book per week during the summer. There are all kinds of goals that you can set. And it's without knowing what particular situation somebody's child is in, it's hard to make general recommendations. But I think having a discussion about this and defining goals for the summer is really important.
And if you're a parent and you're watching this and you're thinking, that does sound like a good idea, but I also want to make sure that I'm not that my child is soaking in the break portion of summer break and that they are getting whatever necessary intellectual sort of recovery that they need and space to explore that they need. And even something you're referencing, which is like the opportunity to work different brain muscles, maybe an instrument or things
Hmm.
like that. And so what is the balance of saying, okay, we would like you to set goals and we would like you to genuinely try to achieve those goals, but we want to make sure you're also getting the summer break that you may need to be refreshed for the next school year. How do you kind of make all of that work in concert with each other?
Yeah, I think rest and recreation is really important. Most kids, I think, are getting plenty of that and don't have enough structure during the summer. So there may be some families out there that have their summer so fully scheduled that the children feel as much pressure during the summer as they do during the school year. I don't happen to know any of those families, but if your family is in that category, then you might want to dial it back a bit.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. There is, if you have something planned for every day, make sure that your family has time to just have those days where rest and recovery is the plan. I totally agree.
Yes.
I'm wondering, with your research and your area of expertise, do you feel as though there's a better way to do the school year calendar for grade school, middle school, and high school students? Do you feel like this should be structured differently?
Yeah, I think I've actually done research on so-called year-round calendars, which were very popular in California from 1996 until about 2010, and have enjoyed a resurgence in interest after the pandemic. As you mentioned, a lot of kids fell behind during the pandemic, and there was an idea that having a different school calendar might help to combat that. And while time in school does matter, it does not seem that taking the usual 9 months of the school and the 9 months of the school year and redistributing it so that you have a little less summer vacation and shorter breaks during the year, that sounds like a good idea. It hasn't worked out particularly well in practice. And it can create real scheduling problems for families who find they have children on two different calendars at two different schools or
Right,
even the same
absolutely.
school.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that is that's not easy when it comes to transportation and meals and sleep schedules and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
You like the uniformity if you're a parent who has their own job to tend to, and of course
Yeah.
their own hobbies and learning that they want to do. I guess if we could go back to the pandemic, and if we could, I would like to ask. Trying to think of the best way to form this. Hearing you speak is giving me more things I want to ask. You're doing a great job of kind of taking us to different angles of this. When it comes to the learning loss that it was experienced over COVID, if we had a blame pie, how much of it goes on strictly the conversion to virtual learning? And then what are other factors that you would say are involved in this learning loss that, based on a lot of our reporting, there's still a lot of recovery to do in regards to that?
Yeah, the learning that was lost during the pandemic was never fully recovered. And yeah, a lot of it does have to do with schools closing, and with schools going to 50% or 100% online learning that weren't ready to offer high quality services through that medium. And really expecting very young children, for example, to learn online, it wasn't particularly realistic, and it took a real toll, especially on young children, and also on the social skills of both young and middle school and high school age children that I think is just now being recovered.
And so the isolation obviously plays a big part in that. The mental drain
Yes.
that came from grappling with a global event at that age. I mean, what kind of impact did that have? Does that play a role here, or are we more focused on the actual tangible methods of teaching?
Yeah, I think I mean, there's been a lot of focus on what happened to children's reading and math scores during the pandemic. My own child's math scores actually went down during the pandemic, which is exceptional. The usual result was that they go sideways or maybe go down or maybe don't go up as quickly as they otherwise might. But there was a tremendous social toll, and it wasn't limited to children. The isolation was really hard on families, and having parents that are stressed out was not great for children. Having children who are stressed out was not great for parents. And I think we're all just glad it's over, even if we have some recovery that still needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, there's a couple different ways I want to go here. I want to revert back to those summer activities and maintaining improvement throughout the summer in terms of learning. And you mentioned a couple different things: reading a book once a week, picking up an instrument, things like
Hmm.
that, that maybe more specifically or more clearly relate directly to sort of intellectual function. But I know that for me, my summers were dominated by physical activity. It was a lot of basketball,
Yeah.
a lot of time at the beach. If that
Yep.
is what, lucky enough to grow up here in Hampton Roads and be close to the beach, right? If that is what,
Hmm.
you know, if you're a kid or you're a parent of a kid who really seems to cater their summer to that, how can you take that and use it to fit into your opportunity that you drew up to continue with that improvement? Is there a way that you can sort of make
Hmm.
both of those things work? All my kid wants to do is play soccer all summer, right? But I also have been
Yeah.
listening to Dr. Von Hippel, and he says to take advantage of the opportunities. How do you make those things work together?
Yeah, so what you're touching on, actually, a more robust and replicable finding in the research is not summer learning loss, but summer weight gain. Most children gain weight more quickly during the summer than they do during the school year, and that's especially true for children who were overweight before the summer began. So it's probably not the case that most kids are playing basketball and going to the beach a lot during the summer, and it's really important for children to have some kind of structure, both physical and intellectual, to get the most out of the summer. So I think most children need to be more active than they currently are during the summer. And the real danger is that they're going to fall into an irregular sleep schedule. They're not going to have any planned activities. And the summer, they're not going to improve in any area over the summer. So it's important to define goals and to set a structure for the week and for each day during the summer. And
Create
of course, that structure can include, as you said, some downtime as well.
Right. Right. Creating that structure where all of these things can be explored, and body, mind, soul. There can be improvement on all of those while you also enjoy the rest of relaxation. Dr. Von Hippel, talking to you, I feel like we can have it all. We can kind of create that perfect summer where there's growth and enjoyment all sort of together. I really appreciate the time that you've given us here today. I would love to have you on again at some point. I feel like there's lots of different aspects of this that I'd love to really explore even further. I've enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully we can catch up again down the road.
Okay, thanks. It's been great talking to you, Connor, and I hope we do catch up again.
Very good. Looking forward to it. Dr. Paul Von Hippel from the University of Texas at Austin, a professor of public policy, sociology, statistics, data science, helping curate those summers to not just have some enjoyment, some rest, and some relaxation, but to continue growing and improving as so many students do during the school year. Dr. Von Hippel, we appreciate it.